I wanted to get on here today for really two reasons. First, just wanted to give you guys an update of how I'm feeling, where I'm at right now. I feel good. It's going to be a process, you know. The days are a little bit slower right now. Just taking my time, resting a lot. Really want to tell so many of you guys, I can't even start to say how appreciative Haley and I are to so many people for the calls and the texts and the visits and just the love and the support that we have seen through all this. It was very unexpected. And so just first want to say that we love you guys, and we are so incredibly thankful for family and for Kingdom family, for those who have supported us and loved us through this. I really wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about something within this that I've had several men reach out to me privately and kind of ask, like, man, were there signs, before you had your heart attack? Were there symptoms? Is there things, in your family tree that you knew about? Like things that some guys had said, hey, I've kind of had some things going on where I've wondered. And now after hearing this, with you, they've wondered. And so I just want to share really what happened. And then in hindsight now, looking back, some things that probably were warning signs that I just never would have imagined that's what they were. So this is for everybody, but it's really for the men out there. I want to speak to men because if we're being honest, we can just be stubborn. We cannot want to go to the doctor, not want to deal with doctors. And so what happened that brought me to the hospital, that brought all this to the surface, was last Tuesday. I went to the gym in the late afternoon. It was probably one of the lightest workouts I've ever done. I mean, I didn't even go upstairs and lift weights. I just jumped on the bike and rode the bike for about 20 minutes. And then I finished in the sauna. And usually I finish a workout about 20 minutes in the sauna. I wasn't even in there 15 minutes. And I just started getting real lightheaded, almost like real foggy. And so I got out. I was going to jump in the shower and take a cold shower and cool my body off. And when I got out, I couldn't get my bearings. So I sat on the bench, and the last thing that I remember was a guy walking by me out of the pool who had a yellow towel on, and that's it. That's all I remember. And he said this gentleman got into the sauna and said he saw me take a face plant right into the tile floor. So he went and got help. He got some people out of the pool area to help me. And he said it was about a minute that I was unconscious. And so when I came to, I had about 4 people standing around me, asking me questions, putting cold towels on my shoulder. And it was just embarrassing. That moment was embarrassing. I'm 46 years old. I feel like I'm in good shape for my age. I feel like I'm in good health. I try to be very health conscious. Work out, I stay active. Haley tries to cook really healthy food, and I try to make good, healthy decisions, eating. And so, man, I can tell you when that happened, I was embarrassed because here I am in my boxers, laying in my boxers with a pool of blood next to me, trying to figure out what in the world happened. And when I came to, I just thought I was dehydrated. So when the paramedics came, I refused to go to the hospital. For 2 reasons. One, embarrassment. And the second one was, man, I don't need hospital bills. To be honest, that's what I was thinking. Haley and I have really worked hard in the last year to get ahead financially. And I was stubborn and said, I don't need more medical bills, even though we have insurance. So against even their wishes, I signed, the slip saying that I refused, put a Band-Aid on it, went home. When I got home, Haley looked at it and was like, I think you really do need stitches on your head. So I called someone in the medical field. And when I really was just asking his opinion, do I need stitches? And when I told him what happened that day, he asked me, have you had anything like this happen recently? And as I thought about it, the week before, I was out at Youth Reach. I go out there every Wednesday. And that particular Wednesday, I was cutting grass for about 2 hours. And when I finished, the guys wanted to play football. So we're throwing the football around for about 20 minutes. And I started getting real lightheaded, real dizzy again. So I took a break, thought I just needed some water. And when we went back out to play, within 5 minutes, I started getting that same feeling. I felt like I was just going to pass out. And so I just quit, went inside, got a couple glasses of water in me, sat in the AC, sat on the couch. But again, I didn't say anything to the staff or to the residents because I was kind of embarrassed. I just thought, man, is this what getting old feels like? You know, that I can't even play football in the heat. So I chalked it up that day to just being in the heat and being dehydrated. So that friend strongly encouraged me to go and get checked out. He said, man, if nothing else, get some stitches on your head, have them check your head, have them check your neck, just to make sure there's no injury there. And so the last thing I thought was that it was anything to do with my heart. And so I went at about 8:30 that night, went to the Gulf Shores Hospital, got the stitches, told them what happened. They started doing some tests, and then they wanted to do an EKG. And it was through that EKG that particular doctor saw some things that were very alarming to him. So they did a little bit more testing and research and came back within the hour and said, you had a heart attack. And man, I thought he was kidding. I did. I was like, I even told him, I said, man, stop playing. He said, I don't play when it comes to things like this. This is serious. You had a heart attack. And he drew it up on the marker board, showed me exactly where he thought it took place. And so they immediately then transported me to South Baldwin and Foley so that I could look at meet the cardiologist. Still, when we got to Foley, they were like, well, it could be that. You could have a heart attack. Could be something else. I really wasn't sure. First thing the next morning, the cardiologist was going to make his rounds and talk to me. And I guess he looked at the reports and he saw something that was alarming. So they sent me down right away to do a procedure. They went up my arm to just do a heart catheter to get in there to look around. And they said, when we get in there, then we'll really know what's going on. If it's serious, there's multiple things we could do. We could do as small as put a stent in. We could send you to have an open heart surgery. We really don't know what's going on right now. So they got in there. They saw a 70% blockage in one of my arteries and put a stent in. And they were amazing. They did it within 30 minutes. But, coming out of that, being in the room, it wasn't probably until Wednesday night when reality started to set in of this actually happened. And it was a hard reality, to be honest. Some of you may know I have an older brother, 3 years older than me, that just a month and a half ago had a massive heart attack and had a quadruple bypass surgery. And we were over there with him for that week while he had his surgery. And man, he'll be the first to tell you, he's abused his body for years. And that's what he kind of chalked it up as. And we even did too, of he just wasn't taking care of himself. And so when this happened to me, just a month and a half later, both of us being under 50 years old, it was really alarming. And the doctors, as they looked into it, especially when I told them what had happened to my brother, they were very confident that this is hereditary. And they did. They looked at me and they said, you look like you're in good shape. It's not what it looks like. It's not what it appears on the outside most of the time. It's what's going on inside that we have no idea about. And so that's why I wanted to share this, because as I looked back now, there were some signs that I just blew off as either getting older in life or I was just being stubborn in the moment. One of those is, and your wife knows you well, Haley looked at it and said, you have been really fatigued in the last year. In the mornings, it was harder to kind of get up and hit the ground running. I was tired. I was just dragging a little bit. I was getting in a really bad habit of drinking energy drinks every day about midday because I would feel tired, felt like I needed a little pick-me-up. And so was doing that, not realizing that there might have been something that was causing that fatigue. Another thing was I would get up. This would happen at least once a day. I would get up from my chair to go to the bathroom or go in the kitchen, go do something. And when I got up, I would get kind of lightheaded real quick and dizzy, and I have to kind of wait a minute. I just chalked it up as getting older, And so never would I have thought that it had anything to do with my heart. And so, like I said, this is really for everyone, but especially men out there, because I know we can be stubborn. And I've had some conversations with some of you already who have reached out to me and admitted that you just didn't think it was worth going in. I wouldn't have went in. I didn't go in last Wednesday when I was out at Youth Reach. I didn't tell anybody. I went home, actually, I forgot to say this. I went home that night And the rest of the night, my chest was kind of tight and I was in that fog all night. I remember telling that to Haley. I was like, I just can't get out of this fog. And, but I didn't go get checked out. And it's not that I don't get checked out. I do go once a year. I have a yearly checkup with my doctor. It's part of our insurance, requires us to do that. And so in April, I had my checkup then. And all they told me was that I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol and to monitor it, but they didn't put me on any meds. There wasn't anything super alarming. And so I just want you to know, it's not that I'm that guy that would never go to the doctor. Even though I did complain and threw a little fit every time I went for my annual checkup, and I didn't like it, I was going. So there wasn't an obvious thing that popped up in this. And so for all of you men out there, no matter your age, no matter how you feel, no matter how active you are, no matter what it appears on the outside, I would just encourage you to go ahead and go to the doctor, get checked, get your blood pressure checked, get your cholesterol checked. If there's even a indication, a slight concern that there may be something, get an EKG ran, because that's when they saw that. That's when they realized there's seriously something going on here with your heart. And so, man, I know it can be easy. I know it feels like an inconvenience. I know that we think that we're tough. When that happened there a week ago, I didn't feel it was that concerning. I chalked it up as dehydration. I chalked it up as being a little bit hot outside. But then later that didn't make sense, because I was like, man, I've been in July, August, we've been doing disaster relief in 110, 150 degree weather all day long. I've drank way more caffeine than what I did that day. So there were some things that weren't really adding up. But I still didn't get checked. That day, last Tuesday, when I fell and hit my head, I came to after a few minutes. And I honestly, even in that moment, didn't think it was worth getting checked out. There may have been a level of arrogance there, but it really was probably more embarrassment than just being bullheaded, to think it's okay, it's not that big of a deal. And so I didn't think that those two kind of dizzy spells didn't alarm me enough to where I would have went and got checked. But I can tell you this, what really did was calling a friend in the medical field who I know him very, very well. I love him and trust him. And I when he told me, look, man, from my professional opinion, I'm asking you to go and get checked. Just get checked out. Get the stitches in your head. Ask him to check you out. If it wasn't for him that night, I would not have gotten checked. My heart attack was mild compared to what my brother just went through a month and a half ago. But had I not gotten checked out and realized there was a 70% blockage in that area, God forbid, it could have gotten to that point. My brother had 90% blockage in all four. And so it's amazing that he's even still alive. So I'm thankful. I'm actually thankful that we were able to catch this somewhat early on. And really, if I wouldn't have smashed my head, if I wouldn't have hit my head, bust my head open, and consider whether or not I get stitches, I probably wouldn't have even called my buddy. So it's kind of funny how being hard-headed, the Lord had to bust this hard head open to get me to actually seek some advice and then go and get the help. The other thing is, I think about this, it could have been so much worse. God forbid I could have had this heart attack while I was driving. I could have hit somebody head on and taken somebody else's life, taken my own life. I could have fallen and hit my head and had nobody around, and I could have laid there and bled out for an hour. And so I'm thankful that the Lord allowed it to happen the way it did, when it did. So for men especially, I would say, listen, you have wives and you have kids. You may not, but you have family members. You have people that love you and depend on you and that care about you. And so if for no other reason, just go and get checked out for them. I won't name names. There's some of you that I would like to look in this camera and call you out right now by name, because I know you're just as stubborn as I am. I actually talked to a wife yesterday who said, please call my husband and call him out, because I've been telling him for a while to go get checked out because he's had some symptoms. That's why I say to you, those of you watching, if you have any of these symptoms, another thing that we've noticed since we've been home, we got home Thursday night. So I've been home since then. I slept Thursday night and I slept last night in my own bed. Prior to that, Haley said since we've been married that I always snored and that I flopped a lot when I slept. It's always been a thing. And I always kept her up a lot because of it. She said the last 2 nights, she's never seen me sleep more peaceful. I didn't snore at all. I barely moved. The first night she had to check on me at 3 in the morning because she said, you didn't move one time. And so I'm believing there's some connection there. And I'm believing that's actually one of the benefits moving forward. Now, a lot of people say once you have this done, you get a stent put in, you bounce back even stronger, that you have even more energy. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm believing that if you're watching this, if you've had any of those symptoms, maybe the dizzy spells, the fatigue in your life, if you're one who hasn't been to the doctor in a while, you're not a guy that goes and gets a yearly exam because you think it's stupid. I get it, but trust me, it's worth going and getting checked out. I'll say this, it is hard when it's hereditary. It's not that I felt like I was bulletproof, but I felt like I was doing everything in my ability to be healthy at 46. But man, when it's hereditary, it's an underlying thing that you have no idea is there. And so I'm learning this, in all of this, I'm learning that absolutely, please listen to me with this, absolutely, God can break off hereditary things. He can free us of it, but he calls us to use wisdom. In James 3, it talks about earthly wisdom, which is basically common sense, right? And so, man, we can be super religious and be like, oh, you don't need to take medicine. Oh, you don't need to do all this stuff. God will just touch you, heal you. Do I believe that? Absolutely, I believe that. And I'm going to continue to believe that the Lord is going to touch my heart, and it's going to be 100%. But I'm not going to be foolish either. I'm on blood thinners. I'm on cholesterol medication. I'm on baby aspirins probably for the rest of my life, it sounds like. I'm going to take those because I'm not going to be foolish. There's things, I'm going to clean my diet up even more. We're going to eat cleaner than we ever have before. That's called wisdom, and that's what we need to do. But yes, you still believe that God is going to heal me as well. So, man, when it's hereditary, I have reached out to all my family now and stressed this to them, that with 2 heart attacks in our family in a less than 2 month span, 2 guys who were under 50 years old, man, go get checked. Go get checked just to be safe. I would love nothing more for you to go and get checked out, have your blood pressure, have your cholesterol, have an EKG done, and the doctor say, man, you look great. I would love that. I would love that for every single one of you men watching this, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And so anyhow, wanted to share that with you guys. I'm doing good. It's going to be a few weeks before I'll be able to do some normal things, but that's okay. Just taking it one day at a time, getting a lot of rest. I've been able to walk each day the last 2 days and progressively do that. But looking forward to seeing you guys soon and looking forward to being stronger than ever in Jesus' name. Love you guys.